Hi everyone, it's Marianne and welcome to my Oasis Life. In this video, I'll be sharing with you a water experiment where I tried to find out which type of water helps our pothos propagation grow roots faster. I started this experiment about a month and a half ago, and as I mentioned in previous videos, propagation is a race between rooting and rotting, so I wonder if there's a certain type of water that would help our pothos propagation grow roots faster. And I'm using 4 different types of water in this experiment: tap water, filtered water, water that is pH 6, and water that contains Epsom salt or magnesium sulfate. And I'm using cuttings from my manjula pothos, but I chose the vines that has reverted back to green. Each container is of the same size, have the same amount of water, and have been exposed to the same type of conditions. Everything is the same except for the type of water that they do receive. So I'll first show you the clips of when I first started the experiment and a couple of updates since, and then I will give you the final update of my pothos propagation and the results and my recommendations. Okay, so this is my manjula pothos. Some of the vines in this manjula pothos have reverted to green. Snip, snip. So on this side, I'm going to do it as close as I can to the base of this plant, which is over here. And I'm just going to do it like that. So this is one strand, and let me take out the other strand. So it's this strand over here. Just going to cut all the way down. So it's this strand over here. So here are the 4 different types of water that I have. And the first one, this is just ordinary tap water. I do water all of my house plants with just tap water, but it's tap water that has been sitting. So I would collect them in like recycled jugs and I just let it sit overnight at minimum, and then that's what I use to water my plants. And this one is filtered H2O. I don't really give my plants filtered water just because it's a lot of work and it uses up the filter a lot more quickly for our drinking purposes. So I try not to use filtered water too much, but we'll see if there's any difference in propagating pothos with filtered and tap water, if there's really much difference. And this is water that I pH tested and brought it down to pH 6. I've seen Epsom salt water used for growing microgreens, and I want to see if it would make a difference in propagating pothos. So this one will go to the just tap water. And all the vines that I'm on, all the propagations that I'm putting here is just single propagations with 3 leaves on them. And then this one, also 3, will go into the filtered H2O. This one will go into the one that is pH 6 water. And pH 6, because if I didn't explain, that is the ideal pH for houseplants. It's between, depending on the plant, it's between 5.5 to 6.5. So the pH 6 is a sweet spot for whatever houseplant you have. And the last one will go into the Epsom salt water. I also have individual leaf cuttings that is also 4. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna stick it in them and see how well they perform as well. And this one in Epsom salt, this one in the pH 6 water, this one in the filtered water, and this one with just the tap water. So I'm just going to keep them in this water for until they grow roots that is ready for transplant into another medium. I'll give you updates in a week or 2, so you'll see how they're progressing. So today is February 18, and I'm going to give a quick update on the water experiment I'm doing with pothos propagation. So I've changed all the waters today. It's been like about 2 weeks since I first started this, and none of them has grown roots yet. And I think what happened is because I had this close to a window, thinking I should give them a lot of light as they try to propagate, but during propagation, for pothos especially, they're not going to grow roots if the temperature is below 68 degrees. So that was my mistake. So that's why there hasn't been growing any roots for the most part. So just a quick update. So this one is still with the tap H2O. This is the one that has like the most dramatic change, not in the roots, but in the leaves. Like 2 of the leaves have started to yellow, which is unfortunate. But as far as root growth, there is zero root growth in this one, in this pothos that's growing in just tap water. This pothos that is growing in filtered water, no growth in the roots yet, but also nothing going on with the leaves. The leaves are still in good condition. And the one in pH water, there is also no roots growing yet, but also no changes in the leaves, kind of like with the filtered H2O. So this one is the one that has the most improvement, so to say, in what we're trying to achieve. Like this one is starting to grow roots over here, but it's very, very small, so it's going to be like very hard to see. So this is the only one that has started to grow roots. And this is the one that is in the EPSOM solution, the EPSOM water solution, and nothing going on with the leaves either as far as yellowing or growth. So actually no, there's some growth in here for the one in the EPSOM, but this is I believe has been there already when I did the cutting. But yeah, but so far it's the EPSOM water solution that is giving us growth as far as roots, and the one in the tap water is the one that is faring the worst since the leaves are starting to yellow. But yeah, so I'll check back with you in maybe another week or two and see what's the update with this pothos. Here's an update on our water experiment. So things have changed quite quickly after I moved this into a place where they can get a little bit more warmer temperature but still have some access to light. So for the one in the tap water, the yellowing has slowed down a little bit. I don't know if it's gonna bounce back, but it still hasn't formed any roots yet that I can see, but we can check. So yeah, none on this one. And on this one, I think maybe over here there's some starting, but I'm not sure. But none of the nodes have shown any signs of growth yet. The next one is the one that has the filtered water in it. Let's check. Okay, so the filtered water has started to grow roots already too, so once it has been moved to the warmer temperature. So this one has a bit of roots. This one doesn't yet. Just to make sure that it's submerged in water. This one has started to grow roots, and this one doesn't yet. So the warmer temperatures really did the trick for these pothos. So it was good that I moved them to a place where they get warmer temperature. So this one is the pH6 water, and this one is also growing roots, and this one is also growing roots, kind of like the same with the one in the filtered water. And this one is in the Epsom salt solution that is also pH'd and been growing roots and been growing roots. So this one has the longest root growth so far. But yeah, so that is the update on the water experiment. So here are the propagations in my water experiment. I would zoom in a little bit, but just to talk real briefly, I haven't changed the waters in these containers for about 2, maybe 3 weeks now. So for this entire experiment, I've only changed out the water once. And after the first 2 weeks where it was in a very cold location and I've moved it to a much more warmer location, it remained pretty much in the same places, which is on my vanity. So the first one that I'm going to show you is the result from propagating with just tap water. And during this experiment, as I've said in the updates, I experienced yellowing in the leaves of the ones that are in tap water, and it only happened with the ones in the tap water. But ever since I moved it into a much warmer location, the yellowing has kind of slowed down. It hasn't continued yellowing since, but I don't think the yellowing could be reverted. So I don't know if these leaves would just eventually just yellow and die off. But for some, but right now the yellowing has slowed down ever since I moved it into a much warmer temperature. And as you can see, the water is a bit dirty because I haven't changed any of the water out. Now let's see how much root it has grown since I started this water propagation in tap water. As you can see, after almost more than a month of being water propagated, no significant root growth came out from this pothos yet. The only one that had some root growth is the single leaf cutting, but this one still don't have any root growth, and this is the one that had yellowing leaves on it. So that is the one that's propagating in tap water. So the next one I'm going to show you is the pothos propagations that is growing in filtered water. The results of this is the one that astonished me the most. Filtered water is basically just water I got from the fridge. This is not water that I bought. As you've seen in my last update, there wasn't much root growth from the pothos propagating in filtered water. But now let's check how much root growth it has now. So this is how much root growth it currently has right now. Like for this one, look at how much growth it has already. The single leaf cutting in this one didn't have any root growth, but this single leaf cutting has such long, healthy roots. And I think this is the one that has the longest root growth among all of the cuttings in this experiment. So that one really surprised me a lot. The third one is cuttings that has been propagating in water that has been pH 6. Let's see the results of this one. All of the cuttings in this type of water has grown roots. The single leaf cutting has like really long roots. The second single leaf cutting has also grown really long roots. This one that has 4 leaves in it has also grown lots of healthy new roots. And the last but not the least is the one that is growing in Epsom salt. And this one, if I remember correctly from the updates, has the earliest root growth. And so let's check right now how much root growth it has since. So, okay, this one surprised me because I thought this one is the one that will do the best, especially since it started growing roots so early in comparison to the others. But right now, this single leaf cutting, although it remains healthy, it's not yellowing, it still doesn't have any root growth in it at all. This one that has a couple leaves and several nodes in it also don't have a single root growth at all. Even like a budding root, it doesn't have it. And this is the only one that has grown roots, like this one single cutting. So the results of this is very surprising to me, considering this one had the earliest start among the 4. That is the result of my water experiment. The one that did the best was the one in the pH 6 water. The next one is in the one that filtered H2O. And then the next one is the one in the magnesium sulfate solution. And the very last one is the one that was just in tap water. My final thoughts in this experiment that I did on finding out which type of water is best for propagating my pothos. I just want to say that this is just one experiment. We need lots more experiments to come up with something conclusive. So if you try it for yourself, results may vary. But for me, the pH 6 water did work the best, followed by the filtered H2O, and the results between the two is very close. So if I couldn't pH my water to pH 6, I would definitely go with filtered water in propagating my pothos. I was real surprised with the results of the tap water, but at the same time not really, because it's always been 50-50 with me with water propagations, which is why I prefer propagating in sphagnum moss and coco coir or perlite, because I have higher success rate using those type of mediums than just propagating in water. The Epsom salt solution, I think what happened with that is it did help kickstart the root growth, but it didn't help much after that. So if I would to do this all over again, I probably would start with the Epsom salt solution. And once I start to see the root growth, I'll probably just switch back to pH6 water or filtered water to help continue with the root growth. And I also think adding nutrients this early in the stage of propagation doesn't help with the root growth in the long run, because even when growing seedlings or microgreens, the nutrients are introduced a lot later in the process and not right at the beginning. But yeah, so those are my thoughts on my water propagation experiment. If you're going to try it, let me know, or if you have any tips or tricks in your water propagation, if you add anything to your water, or you have a certain type of water to use to help speed up the water propagation, let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear from you. So that's it for the results of my water experiment. I am still going to continue keep them in their water propagations. I am changing out the water after this video because they are a bit dirty. Like I mentioned in my pruning and pothos propagation video, I need to let it grow roots a little bit more before I transfer it to any medium. So they're going to stay in water for quite a bit, and I might give updates in the future on how they're doing. But do follow me on Instagram at @myOasisLife, because it's more likely that I'll be throwing those updates on my IGTV or in my IG stories. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you like it, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new here, I hope you subscribe. I come up with houseplants and sustainable videos every week, and if you haven't yet, go check out my videos up here. Until my next one, but until then, I see you, I appreciate you, wash your hands, and have a plentiful day. Bye.